Welcome back. It's still Morning Rush on Metro Television, and this morning we are talking about eliminating child marriage and also SGBV. And this morning we have two ladies from Youth Action Movement, and we have Jemima Ansomene Bless Akete, who is a volunteer of the movement, Youth Action Movement, and also Patience, and Poma, who is the national coordinator of Youth Action Movement. And this morning we'll talk more about eliminating child marriage. What is it, which people are normally affected, and what are the consequences, and also what are the stakeholders doing about it. Good morning and welcome to Morning Rush.
Good morning.
It's good to have you ladies here.
Yeah, it's good we are here too.
Okay, so we'll start the conversation. I mean, when one mentions SGBV, what exactly is it? And when we mention child marriage, what comes into mind?
So what comes to mind when I hear child marriage and when I hear SGBV is human rights violation.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind. What comes to mind is taking young girls, mostly below the ages of 18, into relationships, that most of them are not in consent of. That's what comes to mind.
Okay. And what does SGBV stands for?
So SGBV stands for sexual and gender-based violence.
Okay. And are the two in a way linked or intertwined?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So then we'll start the conversation by understanding what exactly is child marriage. Then afterwards we'll move into SGBV.
Okay, so good morning once again. And so when you hear child marriage and then SGBV, they are both harmful practices which impede the development of a child.
Okay.
And so when you go down to what child marriage is actually, a child is someone below 18 years. And so giving a child off for marriage, it's impeding the person's development, it's a violation of human rights. And then in the long run, the SDGs, that's the Sustainable Development Goals, it means it can't be achieved or attained.
Okay.
Yes.
And what will make a child go into marriage at a very early age?
So sometimes it boils down to the chief excuse chief excuse, that's the poverty.
Poverty.
Yes, okay. Poverty people dwell on to give off their children out for marriage. So when you go to some parts of the country, you hear parents say that there's no money at home, and so you have to be with this allergy, you have to be with this man so that he can give us something at the end so that we can take care of your other siblings at home.
Okay.
Yes. And so sometimes too, lack of education, people are negligent, people don't know what the consequences of these things are. Okay. And so they don't even mind giving their children at younger ages for marriage. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and also just to top up to what Jemima said, most people would say that the main cause of SGBV and child marriage is poverty, as she has mentioned. That's not to say what she says is wrong, but then there are actually root causes. Okay. Okay, so poverty can be a contributing factor to child marriage. There are a lot of contributing factors, but then let's look at the root causes. Let's look at the system or the society that we find ourselves
Exactly.
in. Let's look at the patriarchal masculinity in society. So, and traditions and culture that we think that has to be passed on or has to continue in the society.
True.
So back in the days, when girls are young, it is already arranged that this is the person that you want to be with. And most people don't even wait for the young girl to mature enough to go into that relationship or go into that marriage, and they just give them off. So if that system of patriarchal masculinity is erased from our society, I think then we can start saying that yes, we are working towards eliminating child marriage and SGBV. And you asked how linked both of them are there.
Yeah. Child marriage and the SGBV.
Great. So child marriage is underneath SGBV. This is because SGBV is broad. That's sexual and gender-based violence. Now, when you bring child marriage under SGBV, you realize that when a child goes into marriage, there's a high possibility of sexual violence.
Yeah.
Because this person is not even emotionally, physically,
True.
you know, all the stages of development have not reached that particular level that the person can think through very well and decide for themselves what they want. So that is how they are linked.
Yeah. And I'm glad you touched on it being beneath SGBV, because most of the time we see that there are types of SGBV: the sexual, physical, psychological, and economic violence. And I want to find out, in your course of operating or engaging with people in the community, which one is more common? Is it the sexual? Is it the psychological? Is it the economic violence? Or which one, the physical? Which one is more common?
So
do you remember want to take that?
So I wouldn't want to say that one is more common than the other, but we are PPAG, we are YAM, and we work in the area of sexual and reproductive health and rights. So we can talk more on sexual violence.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, all the other forms of violence are interlinked.
Yeah.
Because if there is economic violence, there's a high possibility of there being sexual violence.
Yeah.
And you can be emotionally violated too. You know, they are all interlinked. So we can't for sure say that the prevalence of economic violence is higher than that of sexual violence.
True.
Especially because of the area that we find ourselves
in. And which areas do you normally find yourself in?
So, as I mentioned earlier, we are Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, and more specifically, both of us are the Youth Action Movement. So, the Youth Action Movement is the youth wing of PPAG, and it is mandated to advocate for the sexual and reproductive health and rights of young people in the country. Yeah, so we are nationwide. We are a nationwide youth movement, and we are in various regions of the country.
Yes. Everything you're saying is true, and sometimes per statistics and what is being reported by UNICEF and UNIPAC, I mean, they have conducted various surveys to actually know which regions are normally exposed to these things. And most of first, we used to think it was only in the upper east, upper west, or northern region. But in recent time, it has shown that the westerns and even the Ashantis and other parts, ladies or girls too are exposed to this. But my question is, in this era of digitalization and technology, how are we able to use those things to tackle these social issues?
Okay, so in this era of technology and digitalization, I would say that the work has started already. For we as Youth Action Movement of Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, we've been raising awareness through our various social media platforms. And then the introduction of Yenkasa Contact Center, the Orange Support Center of the UNFPA are platforms that were created so that people or young people can sit at the comfort of their homes, access services of sexual reproductive health at a free cost. So these are technological ways that people can access services. You don't have to see a medical health professional at the facility. You just sit at the comfort of your home. You are just anywhere. You just need to call. You don't have to have any credit to call those, And then recently, civil society organizations and even other youth groups have created these platforms. Let me use the X, that's the Twitter. So you see, I think for 2 weeks now, Twitter has the Youth Action Movement, the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, we have the Ghana SRH Alliance for Young People, we have Curious Minds, we have UNFPA and other groups coming on board to raise awareness through their social media. We do the community work too, but sometimes we do the radio ones, we do the Twitter, where we can have access to this technological instrument, because young people mostly use these digital devices.
Wow. So we'll come and talk about the main stakeholders that are involved in this, but then let's take a look at a video or reactions from youth that have shared their opinion on this social issue.
Child marriage. It is extremely concerning that underage marriages continue to occur in our nation.
Child marriage affects the well-being of the young girl and society. The young girl is deprived of her education, her childhood, and her health is also at stake.
I call upon the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection and our dedicated members of Parliament to take concrete steps in eradicating child marriage and support the survivors of gender-based violence.
I urge you to prioritize the elimination of ending child marriage and combating sex and gender-based violence.
I urge the Ministry to engage with the local communities, religious leaders and civil society organizations to change cultural norms and practice that perpetuate child marriage.
I urge the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection to take decisive actions to eliminate child marriage and sexual and gender-based violence.
Let's unite to help eradicate child marriage and gender-based violence. Create a future free of stigma for the girl child. Let's also help come together to help create a better future for all, and also a world that is more equitable and embracing for each and everyone.
Hashtag girls not bride. Hashtag end child marriage.
Hashtag girls not brides. Hashtag stop child marriage today.
Girls not brides. End child marriage now. Thank you.
Okay, those are interesting views some people have shared with regards to this issue, and I appreciate the fact that both male and females actually shared their view. Now, they touched on the stakeholders that are actually supposed to take action. Let's talk about the main stakeholders, and have you engaged these stakeholders?
Yes, so in the video we heard most of the young people address the Ministry of Gender because
True.
Yes, in Ghana, we know that the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has under its umbrella state agencies like DOFSU and the DOFSU Secretariat and Social Welfare that are supposedly supposed to take care of issues of child marriage and sexual and gender-based violence. So yes, engaging stakeholders is one of the things that PPAG and YAM does very well because it is we advocate. It is part of our work. It is what we do. So we have engaged the Ministry of Gender in various sectors at various places during different discussions, especially under child marriage and sexual and gender-based violence. Not only have we engaged the Ministry of Gender, we also have engaged DOFSU, we have engaged the DOFSU Secretariat, we have engaged the police, and we also have on board development partners like UNFPA and also other CSOs and NGOs because we believe that going alone doesn't make the efforts that we want to realize in the country. It's not just PPAG that can,
do all the job.
Exactly. So we also partner with other CSOs and NGOs and other state agencies, as I mentioned. And also we are in conversations with the Ghana Police as well because at the end of the day, it's not just the Ministry of Gender that will do everything. The Ministry of Gender also works hand in hand with the Ghana Police so that at the end of the day, perpetrators can also be brought to book.
To be apprehended.
And agencies like Social Welfare take care of, the housing of rescued
children.
Exactly.
Or victims.
Exactly. Or let's say survivors of sexual and gender-based violence and child marriage.
Jemima, you want to add something?
Yes, I just want to add something small. So when we look at the trend, or I would say that it's an all hands on deck team. Everyone is a stakeholder here, beginning from the child, the parents, the elders, the local authorities, to the police, to you, myself, and even to the presidency. Everyone is involved. We are all main stakeholders to curb this menace. Okay.
Is there any number someone can contact, reach you on, or any social media?
Yes. So Jemima did mention that we have a platform, yes, where young people can access at any point in time, and it's toll free. It's 0800 20 2010. At any point in time, wherever you find yourself, 0800 20 2010. You can call morning, afternoon, night. So this digital center has people who are trained. We have nurses, we have counselors, we have people you can call, and it's a very confidential system. You can call at any point in time to discuss issues of your sexual and reproductive health, even other issues, not necessarily SRHR, that is bothering you. You can call because we have trained counselors. These are people that can refer you to other places if we cannot assess the situation.
Okay, so 0800 2010.
It's called the Yenkasa toll-free number.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very easy. So anyone can memorize it.
Yes.
And anyone can call at any time.
At any time to access services.
Okay.
Yes.
Jemima and Patient, thank you very much for this discussion. Any other thing you'd love to talk about before we wrap up?
Yes, and I just want to mention the WhatsApp number too.
Okay.
So just in case, maybe you are, of course, there are people and they would sleep.
Yeah.
So maybe you are calling at 12 midnight and you are not reaching anyone. There's a WhatsApp number that you can also text, and you will receive a response, because these are phones that they have with them 24/7. So the number is 024 511 8228.
Okay.
024 511 8228. And remember, it's the Yenkasa call center.
Okay. I'm just putting it down just in case.
Just
you never know.
Yes.
Thank you very much for
welcome.
educating us
So,
this morning.
Yes, so I would like to add that the Youth Action Movement of Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana is open to everyone, especially young people from the ages of 10 to 24. You can join us to also advocate for the rights of other young people, and also in the area of sexual reproductive health and rights.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jemima and Patient, for educating us this morning.